What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, August 27th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on odds.com, on the odds headquarters here on YouTube. One of the reasons why we love athletes so much is because they are leaders. They're leaders on the field, the ice, the court, and they're leaders off of it in life. And we start following them very closely because we believe in them. And athletes right now are trying to make change in America. And we need to care about that. But this is not a political show. The whole idea of this show is to take you away from all of the horrible stuff, horrible shit happening out in the world. You have a place right here on Betting with the Bag where you're with your family and we cap sports and we enjoy life and we let go of what's happening outside and focus on what brings us happiness, capping sports, which is what we are going to do every day that we can. Looks like we got baseball games today. We're going to cap them. Looks like we got hockey games today. We're going to cap them. Coming off a 3-1 night in NHL as well. Let's get after it. This is a bastion. This is a place we go to enjoy ourselves. Get away from all the bullshit outside. Let's have some fun. Let's cap some sports. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Carlos Jetton in the house. Buzz Nuts. Ty Clinton. Ostino Ligon. There's my guy Slats45. There is Nilo. Beach Boss. Rob Torrey. Tony Mang. Sabino in the house. Rye Cape. Geghard A. Geghard A. We haven't seen Geghard A in a while. Great to see you, Geghard A. Tyrone Coleman. Rude Jude, Mr. Mantastic, Michael Urbalina, Jack Reinhardt. Rude Jude says, loving NHL last night. Yes. That was the Tampa Lightning in the over was too easy. Boston's in a world of trouble with this incredible hockey team. They're in a world of trouble. It's too bad. There is Jay Stone in the house. Beach Boss saying, Lightning, you got a great hockey team on your hands. Jordy Nordman in the house. By the way, those of us who've enjoyed watching Jordy Nordman's 75-1 ticket very closely, Jordy, very smart move. I mean, who knows how it would have affected him because, it's a gray area. But he saw the Magic walking off the court. He cashed out at 51-1. I think it was a very shrewd move from our Jordy Nordman. There's Bama Bello, Bill McHugh, Hustle Wilson in the house. Mr. Wisdom says, morning Kappas, may the odds be in our favor. There's Red Girl. Oh, we love Red Girl so much. So great to see you, Red Girl. Thank you for joining us. All right, Jack Reinhardt ready to go? Liking both hockey's over tonight now. I understand that. We're going to have Babano joining the show. But let's not let what we saw last night, because we know there's things we've got to fight in capping, and they're biases. And we all watched a ton of goals last night. So let's talk it out before we go right back to that well. Geghard says, I'm all over the Avs. The Avs are not playing tonight. We were all over them last night, thankfully. We just have two games. We got Flyers, Islanders, Knights, Canucks. I was going to panic there. Michael Urbalina, almost all of them let you cash out early. Almost all the sites let you cash out early. There's Spenny Penny Bombs in the house. Tony Hill ready to get to work. Tony Mang. Well, Kadri's a monster. Viper MB says 3 minutes in and Jim's about to panic. I meant tomorrow. Okay, thank you. I was about to panic, because I wake up early and I work hard. I'm breaking down these games for you. I was about to panic. Nilo says not sports interaction. Okay, I feel you. All right. Let's just get to work here. We are going to have Babano joining us. We're coming off a 3-3 day. Baseball could have easily been a 3-0 day. Instead, it was an 0-2 day with a push. There's bad luck in the bottom of the fifth in both losses. Very, very disappointing. 0-2 down 2.30 units. God, remember the good old days when I was up 7 units. Now I'm down 7 units on the season. NHL, though, 3-1. We've looked strong. We're fighting a good fight. And in the last 2 days, we are 4-1. plus 3.94 units. All's good. All is good. Mariners, Padres. So the doubleheaders have been tricky. I made one bet on a doubleheader, and it blew up in my face. I've already made one bet on a doubleheader. I want to get through the doubleheaders first. Then I want to spend more time on the 9-inning games that we can trust. So we're going to break down the doubleheaders. Also, it's unclear if all these doubleheaders are going to be played. But right now, we cap them if we got them. We got them right now. Let's start Mariners, Padres, Kikuchi, and now it says Garrett Richards. So Lamet is starting the second game. It is safe to assume. Interesting. Do you guys have Garrett Richards or Dinelson Lamet? Okay, it's Garrett Richards, but it's off the board now. Mike Venter says not making any bets during times like these. These players' heads aren't right. I understand that, Mike. I understand that. Spenny said the refs walked out and protest this morning at 9. I get it. I am going to make bets on these games. And if you just want to focus on NHL, because we have a handful of black American hockey players, that's a valid thing to do. There's all these moving parts in baseball, in sports, and now we're dealt with more of them. And I'm going to keep attacking. Carlos Jetton, what do I think about the NBA bubble? I think that I want to cap sports. I honor and respect what they are doing. I mean, I don't want this show to be political. I want this to be a show where we can get away from all of that. So I'm not going to sit here and wax poetic. Who the hell wants to hear from a Canadian white boy? So I'm going to focus on capping sports with my friends and colleagues. St. Louis Elite in the house. Let's get to work. Mariners, Padres. So it's not going to be Lamet. It's going to be Garrett Richards. Shane Schwader says, let's get it on. And Carlos Jetton, all good. Carlos Jetton, you can ask any. No, please feel free to always ask. Like, it's all good, man. It's all good. I have no animosity whatsoever towards you at all for asking very, very important questions. They're very important questions. There's Miss J in the house. Thank you, Cashman. Nice, 10-1 on a 3-teamer. Love it. There's C-Mac in the house. By the way, our man C-Mac's first article on odds.com came out last night. A banger on the BMW Championship. Our man C-Mac in the house. And there's Shane Schwader saying, everyone on here, no matter what, you all my dudes. Exactly. We're fam, and we're here to cap sports. Cynthia Paniagua in the house. Mr. Ghost says, what a couple of hockey games. Just by the way, I gave the final, so I easily swept the Lightning game with Lightning in the over. I was on the Avalanche -1, and I called the final score of 4-1. And I know the final score was 6-4, but I'm telling you, it was 3-1 going into the third period, and I was like, watch this. I'm going to call the score. And then Nightmare. Stars scored 3 goals. This is my worst nightmare. All right. Nicholas Rodriguez says, let's go. Free money yesterday. And look at that. Richie Rich. Nice job. Yeah, I got paid nice. Not as nice as I should have. But, just watching that game was a horror show, man. Watching Dallas come back. There's my guy, Ulysses Hayes, in the house. St. Louis Elite said, I missed my low bag family. Let's make some money. Okay, let's go back to this spot right now. Kikuchi. And I thought it was going to be Dinelson Lamet, but it's going to be Garrett Richards. Let's break this down. Mariners, Padres, Kikuchi Lamet. Mariners versus righties, 242, 709 OPS. Padres versus righties, 249, 815. Oh, no, Padres versus lefties. Sorry, because it's Kikuchi. Padres versus lefties, 240, 765 OPS. Barham Dog Jenkins, my man, very, very kind words. And I just enjoy this so much. I enjoy capping with you guys so much. I'm so thankful for this. With all the madness that goes on outside, just to be here and know that we have this, it means the world to me. And you're an OG low bagger, Barham Dog Jenkins. OG low bagger right there. Love it. Okay. So now when Mike Venter says, and it's a completely legitimate feeling, says not going to make any bets during times like these players' heads aren't right. Alonso Garcia in the house. Thank you, my friend. One of the spots you would be questioning whether to back would be the Seattle Mariners. Seattle Mariners, they lead the major leagues with 10 black players on their roster. So if you were very concerned about some of the emotions and things that are going on inside these athletes' heads, the Mariners might be a spot you'd want to stay off of. Now, if you watch the Mariners play this year, you'd probably want to stay off them anyways. Ryan Gosling in the house. Mitch Bruner back in action. And Nilo, thank you for the kind words, my friend. Kikuchi faced the Padres once last year, 1 run on 4 hits. Who cares what he did last year against Padres? We know this lineup is different, better, stronger. Tony Hill needs 4 good ones today. Okay, Tony. And I thought it was going to be Lamet. So let's go over to Garrett Richards. So this will be his 7th start of the year. Over his past 3 outings, he's allowed 4 runs, 16 hits, 7 walks, and 15 innings, 2.40 ERA. He's a good pitcher. But he's not Dinelson Lamet. And we don't have a line on this 7-inning game. Oh, yes, we do. Sorry, we do. 6.5 is the total. Padres opened up at minus 210. They're now at minus 210 right now. My pleasure, Slats 45. My pleasure. And shout out to Dean Williams and his buddy Ian Anderson. Michael Irvelina says taking the Padres in both games and Dodgers in both games. MMA Locker Room says bet all you can while sports is here. And there's our guy Tim Montana, BX in the house, Beach Boss. And Mr. Gokster giving out love to our CMAC for his great article on odds.com. And Walla Walla Dose says, what up, my guys? At least I can rely on y'all. You can't, Walla Walla Dose. You can. You can't rely on my baseball winners, though. Sadly. I could understand fading the Mariners here. I could understand fading the Mariners on both games. Oh, what a game that was, Tim Montana. I love it. St. Louis Lead says, I had to bring something juicy in my return today. 2.5 unit NHL play coming soon to the chat. Mariners, Padres. Do we double up on fading the Mariners in this double dip? BC fading just means betting against. Walla Walla Dose night was nice. It was a nice, very profitable night. And I bet more in NHL than I do in MLB. My unit size is higher. So it was nice. 3-1. It was nice. And I had the abs on -1. Rude Jude says, I like the over in Mariners. BC, our pleasure, man. Ask away. This is what we're here. And if I don't answer your questions, somebody in the chat will. Yeah, Cash Man. It was I could have gone 3-0 in MLB last night, and I went 0-2-1. So, and Elio says we are very close to becoming full-time thoroughbred handicappers. Again. Yeah. All right. Oh, respect, BC. Welcome to the fam, my man. Mariners, Padres, Kikuchi, Richards, and then Taijuan Walker against Lamet. So I guess that was the thinking by the Padres brass. High win, yeah. I do think Vegas will bounce back, but that doesn't mean that they're a -190 hockey team on a neutral site. It's not -230 like it was in Game 2. We took advantage of that. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Matthew Januski says you want to lay minus 430 to win 200. You need to win both. Matthew Januski, no one wants to lay minus 430 anywhere, and there's no minus 430 on the board, so I'm not entirely sure. Oh, you lay $430. Okay. It's a kind of a tricky spot right now because game 2 is not on the board for the Padres game. And game 1's not even on the board. So it's kind of... Nye said, I had a 5-team parlay, Jimmy, 3 games canceled. Do I win anything? Did you win the other 2 games? Because if you won the other 2 games, it'll just become a 2-game parlay and you'll win that. And JL, killer day yesterday. Love it. All right, so Mariners, Padres, and these doubleheaders we can just kind of skip past. Oh, I feel you, Matthew Januski. What you can do is you can wait till they're both, if they're both on the board, you can just parlay them right now. There's different options. You can also, some books will let you take this doubleheader sweep. And I don't have my parlay calculator in front of me. Prince of the Sea says, I think we'll see everything being canceled. Very possible. Very possible. But while there are games available to cap, we cap. So, yeah, so I can understand fading the Mariners in both games here. Is there risk reward doing it? No. And if it's a minus 210, at least you have the home team, so you get a bigger rule. You get a bigger number on the minus 1.5. So, all right, let's move on to Pirates Cardinals. So this is the first bet that I did lock in. Cool Kim, what we saw from Kwang Young Kim is what we were waiting to see. Last start, he looked very good. He looked very good. The Pirates hit lefties. And Chad Kuhl is more than capable in a 7-inning start. The Pirates are hitting 289, 822 versus lefties, but you take a couple big pieces out of their lineup like Colin Moran and Kevin Newman. Kevin Newman might be able to, and Tyrone says, I see Padres minus 235. Ben Sports 27 says Kuhl's been solid. And Kevin Newman is going to come back at some point during this doubleheader. Will he come back in the first game? I don't know. You have to think that of the 2 pitchers, Oviedo is more susceptible than Kim. And JL says, how about Anderson for the Braves yesterday? It was great. Great to see. But Kim's last start was electric. 6 shutout innings, 3-0 victory over the Reds. He's faced the Pirates in his big league debut. That was when he was the closer for a minute, and he didn't look very good in that start. He seems to be a pretty cool cucumber. And they really like him. And I think he can take care of business with this depleted Pirates lineup. And Alonso Garcia does have Padres game 2 on the board. Okay. Let me see here. I don't have either of them. Get Guard Aces, Blue Jays, Red Sox over 10. Sabino says he's boycotting by not gambling today. Still going to watch the show. What a guy Sabino is. Well, I tell you what, I am gambling today. Because that's what makes my heart pound through my chest. I took the Cardinals on the -1 line. I got minus 120. And should I have fear because the Pirates hit lefties hard? Possibly. Let's move on to game 2, Ponce Oviedo. This game is on the board. Ponce at plus 150, Oviedo minus 170. The total at 7.5. And Tony Mang says he's going to double down for you, Sabino. If you're not betting, he's going to double down. Barry Smith says he's canceled games, killing my parlay. Yeah, that'll happen. And Joseph Gomez says, can anyone name Jimmy's hat? Probably, because I've worn it before. We'll see if anyone can, Joseph Gomez. Oh, wow, JL's neighbor's first cousin with Anderson? I didn't know that, JL. Oh, wow. That's very cool. Congratulations. That must have felt incredible watching your buddy do that. Okay. Ponce Oviedo. Oviedo, 2 runs in 5 innings in his major league debut, August 19th, 4-2 loss to the Cubs. He's been on the taxi squad. I don't know enough about these pitchers. And yes, Mr. Gokster knows the Fresno Grizzlies. It's hard to make a legitimate call on Ponce and Oviedo. Why don't we move over to Baseball Reference and see what we can learn from either of them. Cody Ponce, we'll start with him. "26 years old, second-round pick in the 2015 draft out of Cal State. And last year in Peoria, Altoona, so that was the fall league, Altoona, Biloxi, Indianapolis. So all through the minor league system, he had a 4.14 ERA, 1.18 whip in 63 innings. He had 70 Ks, 20 walks. That's not bad. That's not bad. All right, and let's take a look at Johan Oviedo. Here we go. Oviedo is just 22-year-old, Cuban, flamethrower. And let's see what he's done in the minors here. Last year, he was a high A in Double-A Springfield, 4.73 ERA. But look at that, 163 Ks, 146 and 2/3, 76 walks. Oviedo, a flamethrower. JJ Pop, this is great. Thank you guys, the guys cappers in the chat. Says Ponce has good stuff, but inconsistent, high upside. So I don't know. I can't. Look, the Cardinals bullpen 3.61 ERA, 1.09 whip. They've been strong all year. Pirates bullpen 5.31 ERA, 1.51 whip. They're dealing with injuries. The Pirates don't hit righties. But I don't know enough about these two pitchers. It'd just be like throwing darts, and I'm not going to do that. So I am backing Kim against a baseball team that hits lefties hard, and we'll see if that blows up. St. Louis Elite says Oviedo has some hype around him here, and St. Louis has some good stuff. Keg Harday coming in with his action as well. And that is on the Jays -1.5 and the A's -1 run line parlays. Shogun Soup in the house. Great to see you, Shogun. And Ben Sports 24/7 saying, I feel like MLB teams that are playing today might have players sit out or boycott today. Too many games being canceled. We'll see. We'll see. All right, let's move on to Reds Brewers. Reds Brewers, and Spenny saying no NBA games today. I don't think there's going to be NBA games for the season. At this point, I'm not expecting any more NBA games until Christmas. And it's too bad because my clips were just getting their shit together. All right, game 1, Reds, Brew Crew, Gray, Hauser. We talked a lot about this game in MMA Locker Room since season over. Yeah, Tony Mang saying Lakers Clips voted to cancel the playoffs altogether, yeah. All right. Reds, Brewers, Gray, Hauser. The chat was pretty high on the Brew Crew. We had Jin Rummy say yesterday that in his model, he is the Brewers favored in all of these games in this series. Hauser's not looked as good in his last bit. His first 2 starts were very good, 1 run over 12 innings. But he's 0-2 with a 5.82 ERA in his past 3. I think the tape's out on him. Chili Dog Dooley says, let's cap some golf, Jimmy. Chili Dog, my man, if you're ready to cap golf, I'll fire this up for you here. Our guy, low bagger Connor Mack. Here we go. There's his article on odds.com. And Shogun Soup says, got to live off MLB, NHL, and UFC for now. It's better than what we had a few months ago. But we also have the Kentucky Derby and Razor Sharp Pick's birthday. All right, Gray, Hauser, Gray, 2.21 ERA, 0.98 whip, 36 2/3, 51 Ks, 13 walks, 3 home runs. Reds don't hit righties. Brewers don't hit righties. Reds are they're both batting 200. Reds have a little bit more power against righties. 289. There's Razor Sharp. Speak of him. There he is. Our guy, Razor Sharp Picks in the house. His birthday, September 5th. And Spenny Bombs says Kentucky Derby and Queens Plate weekend after. Oh, man. Cashman19 says, what about football? Are we going to have football? Yes, we're going to have football. And it's Cashman's birthday too. Dope. Yes, and this Saturday here on Betting with the Bag with our NFL expert, Rob Bebenek, we will be doing a NFL Futures show right here. So Gray's shortest outing of 2020 came August 9th against Milwaukee, at Milwaukee, just like this start. And Spenny and Connor Max says, don't miss the horse racing show tonight. Don't forget, there's Boston Nick in the house. Great to see you, Boston Nick. Don't forget, tonight. Razor show. Everybody's getting married to this weekend. Want to do before the Derby. Don't forget, tonight, live horse racing show with Razor Sharp Picks right here. So with that being said, I didn't make a move on this yesterday. And do we know if the Brewers are going to play today? Sonny Gray at minus 135, I find appealing. Matthew Januski says, put the Vancouver Grizzlies hat. I have a bunch of different Grizzlies hats. I wear them often. Reds have scored 6 total runs in their past 4 games. Are they worth trusting? And Noli Knows was saying that he listened to an interview of our Sonny Gray after that start in Milwaukee. He said he just didn't have it that day, and that happens. And he's ready to step up here today. But do you trust this Reds offense? Do you trust them to get runs? JL says, I don't have a line for the Reds. I do. Gray Hauser, minus 135 for the Reds, and the over-under at 6.5 as it's a 7-inning game. Matthew Januski says Reds can't hit a baseball right now. Rude Jude's on the under. I don't trust Hauser. I think Hauser can get the. I also think that the fact that the Reds who haven't been hitting got a day off, kind of get their shit together. BC says, I have a $50 6-leg parlay on 7-game series. Will I get my money back if NBA cancels? All the NBA series that aren't finished, those will become voided bets. Yeah, price keeps going up on the cards. I got in early. When I capped it going over the way Pirates hit lefties, I got a little nervous. But I think the thing is, Tony Mang, is that there's an expectation that Kwang Yun Kim is now comfortable in America and is going to be lights out. All right, here we go. St. Louis Elite. There's Jimmy Cece. Now it's great to see you. St. Louis Elite. There's Von Polo in the house. Great to see you, our guy Von Polo. St. Louis Elite's 2-unit play. Islanders money line. New York flexes today. Wow. Oh, you'll definitely get your bread back, BC. But you might have to wait. Tony Mang says Pirates 0-4 versus lefties. They're just a bad baseball team. Doesn't mean they don't hit them. But good call, Tony. All right. Yes, that fan. The Kershaw game is 7. And Michael Irvelina backing St. Louis Elite's look there. Now let's go Pirates, Cardinals, Ponce, OVA. Oh, sorry, we've done that already. Let's go second game of the Reds, Brewers. And there's Brad Hansen in the house. I think that the Reds getting the day off, they haven't been hitting. Now they go up against Hauser, who's been getting touched. Let's just see what we get on the first 5. Don't forget that the Brewers' bullpen is now going to be fresh. And they're a very good bullpen. Brewers bullpen 3.97 ERA, 1.20 whip, but Hader has not allowed to hit in 9 1/3 straight innings. Let's see what we get on the first 5. Alternative -0.5, -105. I'm going to do that. They had 1 million shots on goal, but the Canucks blocked 40 of them, Gegard. 40 of them. That's what happens when you sit on the bench pointing and laughing at a team. They'll block 40 shots and hate you. Have you ever fought? Like, I got in a fight one time with this guy who hated me with everything that he was. And I didn't really hate him that much. And he hated me so much. And I knew I was likely to get beaten up. Because when you hate somebody like the Canucks hate the Knights, you fight harder. And if you're wondering if I did get beaten up, I actually got lucky in that fight. This guy, Reed Pelly, he had me down on the ground and he was punching, and I was, squirming like a little bitch, just squirming, and he hit a rock with his fist. So he kind of yelled and he came up with his fist and there was blood all over his fist. And one of my friends was like, "Oh my God, Jimmy's getting his ass kicked," and ran up and kicked him off me. And then he looked at me and I didn't have a mark on my face. And then, Reed had to fight one of his friends. Long story short, let's move on. Reds, Brewers, Gray, Hauser. I'm going to take the Reds first 5 minus a half. All right. Game 2, let's get through these double headers. Game 2, Miley, Lindblom. The Brewers do hit lefties. They do hit lefties. 251, 802. There's Fap Win in the house. Fap Win, whom we love, who's always in our horse shows. Coming to us live from Australia. Nice to see you, Fap. Darren Thompson says, "I'm at work. I need a winner." See, that's a low bagger right there. I'm at work. I need a winner. Miley, Lindblom. Whom do you trust? Probably Lindblom. But Miley's got to be able to get right at some point. But the only thing that Bruins can hit are lefties. 251, 802 OPS. Gio Mercedes says, "I just woke up. I need a winner." That's fair. That's facts. Lindblom allowed 3 runs, 6 hits over 4 innings, and 12-5 loss at Pittsburgh on Saturday. So that's a Pittsburgh team that can't hit righties. They can hit Lindblom. Mitch Pruner says, "I'm at work too. Recent betting is why I need my day job." Miley allowed 3 runs, 7 hits, and walked 3 in a 3-0 loss to St. Louis on Saturday. I expect Wiley to get better, but I don't want to I don't know. I don't want to take the Reds to double up here. I don't want to take Miley against. I don't want to have anything to do with Game 2, Reds Brewers. How about that? JL says Wiley is still a drunk. That's why they call him Wiley. Yeah, Brad Hanson. I'm going to take the Reds first 5 minus a half. Okay. So I'm betting on double headers today. I haven't done it all year. We got Tigger 74, 74, 74 in the house. All right. Okay, so let's move on to the next double header, and let's see if that's confirmed that it's Buehler-Webb. And if you are backing the Dodgers here, you might be wary of, and it's not even on the board, is Mookie Betts going to play or are the Dodgers going to play? Ken Mizrahi, my prediction is we do not see basketball anytime soon. My prediction is we do not see basketball. I don't want to get negative, but we may not see basketball until Christmas Day. Maggot Cash Money says, "I think the Dodgers aren't playing today." It's a legitimate possibility. And Coactus in the house, whom we love dearly, just pays $100 on the Islanders. That's how sure I am. Wow, I love Coactus. Just bet $100 on the Islanders. That's how sure I am. I love it, Galactus. All right. That's Dick Hardy like the over in the Rockies IMAX. I don't think we need to. I don't think the Dodgers Giants is a real questionable spot. There's no lineup. Let's not sit here and hum and haw what the line's going to be. We do expect it. If they go, it's going to be Buehler, Webb, and then Kershaw is going to be in one of the games. Yes, very, very easily, Tony Ming. So, Tony Ming saying, can you explain the Reds bet very quickly? Yes. So, the Reds are playing in a 7-inning game, and I would prefer the first 5, knowing that the Brewers bullpen is very good and Hader's ready to go. So, that's first off. Second off, the Reds' first 5 is minus 135, and that's just a little too juicy for me. So I'll cut 30 cents off by taking the Reds' first 5 minus a half run. So you'll have to go to alternative lines. So you go to first 5 and then alternative lines, and you'll see a bunch of them. Okay. So let's move on to full 9-inning games. So in the doubleheaders, I've made 2 moves. I'm on the Cardinals game 1, and I'm on the Reds game 1, first 5 minus a half. All right. And yeah, Maga, it's the Fresno Grizzlies, my man. Okay. So we've made it through the doubleheaders, which was the annoying part of the show. And as we get through the doubleheaders, our special guest, Babano, is on the scene. Oh, wow. It's been Spenny Pennybaum's giving us the latest information. Right there. John Garcia says, hey, Jimmy, do you think just blindly taking under in games because of sports distraction? No, I don't think we should blindly do that. I'd be very curious to see how that plays out today, though, John. Be very curious. Let's bring in our man, Babano, in the house. Babano, what is happening, my friend? How are you on this Thursday morning?
Yeah, Jimmy, crazy times, wild times, but that's been 2020 for the entirety of the year in a nutshell so far. So really, what else is new in that regard? I've had a crazy morning because, so 9 a.m. is usually when I get up every morning, and that was the plan, and I woke up at 9 a.m. this morning, ready to handicap the card, and then next thing you know, I roll back over, and next thing I know, I wake up, and it's 10 a.m. So that's been the kind of morning it was. And I think some anxiety, some fear, some just seeing, what's going on outside of sports, seeing people just bitterly and angrily attack each other viciously, argument fashion on Twitter about what the NBA players are doing. They have no right to be doing this, get politics out of sports, get any issues outside of sports off the table. They should be out there playing. And then you've got the people that say they're doing a noble, wonderful thing, sticking up for racial justice. And it's not just the issues. It's the people in society that are on one side of the argument and then people on the other side of the argument that are just absolutely at each other's throats constantly. And for me, as someone that's trying to just focus on sports and the betting aspect of it, it's given me anxiety. I don't like seeing a society in chaos. I don't like seeing people, not getting along. I don't like seeing, constant violence on my television set day in and day out. It's bothering me. This has been a year of just absolutely epic proportions. Kenny Smith said it right on the NBA show last night that they were briefly on TNT. My head's ready to explode, he said. That's how I feel, Kenny. I'm right there with you. My damn head is ready to explode right now.
There's so many different things I could say about what you just said. And I want to focus on capping. So let me just say, you get up at 9 a.m.? Jesus. 9 a.m.? I'm up at 5:30 a.m. every day like a fucking, oh, God.
But I will say
9 a.m., Babano?
I stay up till 3 a.m., Eastern time. So, I stay up till the end of the West Coast games. I can't go to sleep with the West Coast games still on, especially when I got betting action in play. I've got to see those games play out. And then I do a lot of my capping work overnight, actually, for the next day. I get a head start on the next day overnight. So, and that way it leaves me less to do in the morning, and it gives me that chance to maybe sleep a little longer. So that's my schedule. Not that anybody needs to know Ian's daily routine, but there you go.
Yeah, look, what's going on outside is horrible and horrifying, and we talked about it off the top of the show. And the athletes are leading the way to step up for change. But I want this to be a show where we get away from all that and we cap together like a family and do what we love doing, and that's capping.
Exactly right. That was all I was going to say about it, that it's not just the issues, it's the people that are bickering at each other constantly about the issues that's getting under my skin.
Absolutely. I absolutely hear that. But Babano, sleeping wise, this week has been the worst. One of the worst weeks I've had. How can you go to sleep after that Avalanche Stars game where I have futures on the Avalanche and my futures are bad this year and so I'm not sleeping at all right now. I'm a little flighty. All right, Babano, we've gotten through the double headers, which was something I was hoping that we could do before you got here because they're a pain. I did make moves on 2 double headers. Did you take a look at any of these double headers today, or do you want to go right into the 9-inning games and then into NHL?
Yeah, I've got my games that I've circled and looking to bet. Again, we're going to assume there's MLB today. You know, I'm going ahead and looking at these games as if we're going to have baseball today. The double headers, I can tell you right now, I don't usually get involved in them, but I did look at them. And I'm more inclined to bet game 1 of the doubleheader and not game 2 until game 1 ends, because I want to see the bullpen situation, who's going to be available, and sometimes the team that I was thinking would be the team I'd be backing in game 2, I won't back them in game 2, especially if they won game 1, because we have seen a long-term trend in MLB. Team that wins game 1 goes on to lose game 2 of the doubleheader. Doesn't always happen, but that's been a pretty good trend in recent years. But there are a couple looks in the doubleheaders I was looking at, the game 1s. Look, I'm looking to go against Kikuchi. I don't see much in this pitcher for Seattle that's really impressed me this year. We know San Diego with the bats are absolutely on fire and have been for weeks now. Danielson Lamet expected to pitch for them. We know how good he's been, particularly pitching here at Petco. So I'd be looking maybe at a Padre run line there at -1.5. The other one that was interesting to me was the Gray Hauser matchup, Reds Brewers game 1. I haven't bet it yet. I'm trying to make a case for Cincinnati here. I really am, because I think Sonny Gray's bet on. I know he had a walk issue at the last start he had. The walks were a little bit higher than he wanted. But still, for the most part this season, he's been remarkably consistent. He got out of the crazy, bandbox that was New York, which can drive anybody crazy. And it seems like he's settled in, starting to get his career back on track, because really it was falling apart for him in New York. And it just didn't go well for him with the Yankees. But here in Cincinnati, he's had a great start to the season. Hauser, to me, is one of those ham and egger pitchers, is a fringe guy. I don't think he's a pitcher that I look at as a high level of upside. A lineup that in theory Cincinnati should be able to hit, but why am I struggling with it? Because they're laying -130. They're struggling badly right now. They can't hit their way out of a wet paper bag the last few games. That being said, I think Gray's bet on all the way. I like him off a somewhat disconcerting start that he even said after the game he wasn't overly thrilled with the way he pitched. I think he'll bounce back. So I definitely want to take Cincinnati. I haven't yet, but certainly leaning that way if I'm getting involved in that game.
I already took it, so I like it.
I agree.
I took a Gray first 5 -0.5. I think he bounces back here. The issue is the Pirates hit. Oh, sorry, that's the Young Kim start. The issue is that the Brewers hit lefties hard. But what am I talking about? So Brewers versus righties, 200, 619. What was my issue? I guess the issue, Gray got touched by the sorry, I'm getting confused with the Pirates-Cardinals game 1 that I'm betting. The Brewers bullpen's rested now and can come in quickly. I agree that Hauser's going to get touched. He's a 5.82 over his last 3 starts. And the Reds' offense is the issue. Thank you. Sorry, 6 runs in their past 4 games. Hopefully the day off's going to help them. Votto's 0 for 8, his last 18. Struck out all 4 appearances on Tuesday. And Moose is 1 for 12 with a single.
He's Canadian, Jimmy, like us, but I gotta say it. He's got to get his damn ass in gear. It's time. Enough. You're a better hitter than that. to be on that kind of slump, that kind of funk. And they need you. You're one of the leaders on the group. You're one of the bigger power bats in the lineup. It's time to start showing it, period. It's time for him to get going.
Yeah, he's and the whole Reds team, because the first 3 prop bets I made, or sorry, God, what's wrong with me? My lack of sleep now showing. My first 3 season futures are all gorgeous. Mariners team total wins under, and then Mets and Nationals team total wins under. But then my last 2 are Reds over and Reds division, which are both going to blow up in my face. I'm fine with it. I'm not going to take the Padres here, I don't think, because you're only going to get 7 innings, and they're the home team, so you might just get 6 innings. And you would have to take them on the -1.5. And Lamet's been spectacular, and I thought it was Garrett Richards, but I've got it changed now in my book. It is Lamet game 1. Even on the -1, that's -157. So
I also might do and that's a good point, that this being 7-inning games, and of course all doubleheader games in MLB are 7 innings this year. So if you're going to take especially a home team run line, we're always talking about home team run lines in a regular 9-inning game. Be careful, because you don't get the bottom of the 9th, if they're ahead. In this case, you don't get the bottom of the 7th, if they're ahead. So it could be a big difference. What I could do, and what I might do as well, I might do a little double team totals action. Might go San Diego over 3.5, Seattle under 2.5 instead. That would be actually a decent way to get at it without having to lay the 1.5. You go San Diego over 3.5, Seattle under 2.5. That's actually a good alternative.
It is a good. I'm falling apart here. Yeah, I think that does make sense. I'm going to stay off of it. I'm not going to take a big favorite in a 7-inning game, but I did take a pretty decent sized favorite in the Cardinals at -1. So that's me trusting Kwang Young Kim. I like it. Those are the double headers. Let's get into the full 9-inning games and break them down here. That will be more enjoyable. Let's start with Rockies, Diamondbacks, Freeland, Gallen. And Gallen's been the only pitcher for the Diamondbacks that's been good and counted upon this year. 2.25 ERA, 1.06 WHIP. This Diamondbacks team is falling apart.
Just a second. Your boy Merrill Kelly, you're throwing him under the bus? You haven't liked the way he's pitched? Well, lately he's come
I
back
did
down
until
there.
he got hurt. So, of the healthy pitchers,
Yeah.
Can
I see what you mean. Yeah, he's on the IL. Yeah.
Rockies versus righties, 252, 741 OPS. D-backs versus lefties, 228, 603 OPS. Rockies, bullpen, D-backs, bullpen, both weak, both getting touched here. And Matt Kemp probably won't play today. He chose not to play in solidarity with the others around the league last game. Freeland's been great this year. Pitched at least 6 innings, allowed no more than 3 runs in each of his 6 starts this season. 3-4, 5.27 ERA and 14 career starts against the Diamondbacks, and that's kind of skewed a little bit with how bad he was last year. But he's always been good at chase. 2-1, 3.42 ERA in 5 starts. Diamondbacks get runs late, but they need them early. Gallen can set a major league record by allowing 3 or fewer earned runs in his first 22 major league starts. Aaron Seeley, he's tied with of the Boston Red Sox. 8 career home starts at Chase Field. He's 2.27 ERA, holding opponents to a 187 batting average. He is being very, very good. They both have been good, and we have a total at 8. Also, the roof is closed, finally, in Arizona. They've been open for the last few days, but the roof is closed tonight. This is a total at 8, and the Diamondbacks are sitting at -160. Black Rogues has loved Galen too, though. Are you making a move here in Rockies Diamondbacks?
Yeah, actually, you know what? There is a bet I've targeted, and this is a Noli Knows special, I guess you could say. First 5 under with this game between the Rockies and Diamondbacks. You're right. I think both of these pitchers are bet on. This Arizona team, by the way, they can't get out of their own way. They're 9 straight losses now for the Arizona Diamondbacks. The hot seat's turning up on Torey Lovello here, the manager of this team. I mean, this is supposed to be a team that's expected to be a little bit better than 13-19. Hell, there were people that said Arizona sleeper in the NL West. Arizona sleeper, maybe deep sleeper in the World Series chase. And here they are at 13-19. Here they are having lost 9 straight games. Their offense has really dropped off the map. They're facing a guy in Kyle Freeland, who, as you've mentioned, Jimmy, he's had a fantastic start to the season. Very strong numbers, 2.87 ERA for Freeland. 1.12 whip, 5 unders, 1 over in his 6 starts this season. But on the flip side, Arizona's got a bet on guy of their own in Zach Gallen, 2.25 ERA. 5 of 6 of his starts have also gone under the total. You also look at the fact that Arizona against lefties, and of course that's what you're dealing with here with Freeland, 227. They're much weaker against lefty pitching as a team this year. That's not something I like to see. The Diamondbacks just 227 team average, 2.03 runs per game against lefties this year for the Diamondbacks. So that's just not going to get the job done. I think, and again, you're right about the bullpens. Colorado's bullpen can be a little sketchy. Arizona certainly can be sketchy and problematic late. So take the bullpens out of the equation. But the way these 2 starters are in current form-wise, I thought it was just absolute cinch. Not really a difficult decision for me to go first 5 under the total.
And you got 4 at that total?
Yes, 4 right on the nose. 4 under 4 minus 115.
Well, that's good because it's up to minus 120 or minus 125 at certain books. That makes sense to me with the roof closed, but I think it might be too juiced. Absolutely, Clint. I will for sure, my friend. Yeah, and then I lose that first 5 under 4 last night in the bottom of the 5th in that Marlins Mets game. Dad Fence says plus money with the Rockies and their bats getting hot. I'm on Rockies. Again, the Diamondbacks, Gokster's talking about the Diamondbacks erupting late in the game, but that's what they seem to do nonstop.
Look, people saying if you like Colorado, I definitely wouldn't talk you out of it. When a team's on this kind of losing streak, I'm either betting against them still or I'm passing the game. I'm not looking to be Mr. Proactive here and let's bet on Arizona. Today's the day. Today's the day for this Arizona team to finally win a game. No, I don't think that way. When it's a bad streak like this, I either bet against them until they win or I pass the game. So from a side perspective, you're right. It would be Colorado or nothing for me, and the price is pretty solid actually on them, considering they've won 4 in a row and Arizona's in this tailspin. But I respect Gallen enough that I said, I'll pull back on the side and just go first 5 under because I think the 2 starting pitchers will get through the first 5 innings fairly clean and keep it to lower than 4 runs total.
I get it. Let's move on to A's Rangers. I'm not going to make a move on that spot. Bassett versus Lyles. Man, is Lyles bad. So, Babano, by the way,
that's my move.
Fading Lyles. That's the only success I've had in the last couple of weeks. I've gone from plus 7 units to down 7 units in about 8 days. In 8 days. So it's been atrocious here. But fading Lyles has been a great thing to do. And Bassett, maybe not a one whip pitcher in the long run, but he's pitching well, and he got unlucky in his last spot. And Oakland is the best team in the AL. They won 5 of 6. Well, best record. I guess debatable. Won 5 of their last 6 against Texas this season. Texas lost 10 of 11. Chapman is supposed to be back in the starting lineup. The Rangers, who have no offense at all, first righties 197, 607 OPS, have now lost Rougned Odor, and I don't know if that hurts him that much. He was batting below the Mendoza line anyways. Lyles has 2 starts against the A's last season, went 2-0, 1.45 ERA. I don't care. I can put a line through that. I think he continues to get touched. And Babano, take it away. How are you betting this?
Yeah, absolutely. I put absolutely no credence whatsoever, none, 0, in that head-to-head record and ERA, which is, I think, 1.45 for Jordan Lyles against Oakland in his career. I don't care. Right now, this guy is an absolute dreadful mess, and he has no business at all being in a starting rotation. But this is the Texas Rangers. This is a team that doesn't have a lot of depth in their rotation right now, so they got to trot a stiff out there every 5 days, and right now, that stiff is Jordan Lyles. I was on the over the last couple of starts for him, and certainly that was a consideration. But I do like Bassett quite a bit, 2.97 ERA. He's pitched well this season for the Oakland Athletics. He's been a journeyman most of his career, but I think for the last couple seasons for Oakland, he's actually been pretty reliable for this Oakland A's rotation. So for me, when I look at this one with the line where it is currently, it's obviously you're seeing Oakland here. They're playing great baseball. You're not getting a bargain here near minus 200 with Bassett. So I'm going to go the run line here, minus 1.5. And even more than that, I'm going to go the team total as well. Because I do think Oakland, I would last start was with Lyles. I went full game over because I figured that Texas would hit Seattle that day, and they did a little bit and helped me out to get that game over. I'm not convinced Texas is going to hit Bassett right now. I'm not. But as you mentioned, Jimmy, their lineup is in tatters. Their offense is struggling to score runs right now, Texas. So I don't want to have to rely on them. I don't want to have to bank on them. So I'm going to not bet the full game over here. I'm going to go Oakland run line instead, and I'm also going to go with the Oakland team total over 5.5. Again, it's a high number, but it's a high number for a reason. I think they should be able to get to 6 with relative ease if Jordan Lyles is anything like he's been so far. So run line A's -1.5 at -120, and the team total over 5.5.
So much, yeah. I understand why you don't take it on the -1 line. -1 line at Bet365 works out to -162.
Yeah, that's still a little too high. Yeah, at -160 or higher in baseball, you can pretty much count me out if that's the price I have to work with.
It makes sense. And the first 5 innings -0.5, -145. Ugh, that is so much juice. That's tough. Okay. Buzznut says, with you, Babano. I mean, is this the spot where you just let go of the amount of juice? Possibly. I'm going to type this in here so we can review it before we move on to NHL. First 5 minutes. So it's -145. And then -1 is -162. And Nilo took first 5 -1.5. Interesting. Okay, there we go. Let's move on to Red Sox, Blue Jays, Mazza versus Ryu. Mazza, journeyman, made his MLB debut at 29 years of age. He's been on the taxi squad so far this year, 5 2/3, and he's been touched. His whip at 2.12, his ERA at 6.35. Going up against the Jays ace in Ryu, 3.19 ERA, 1.03 whip. Red Sox hit lefties hard, 266, 771 OPS, and Jays hit righties pretty well, 241, 762 OPS. The Jays bullpen very strong. Reds bullpen extremely weak. Red Sox play the Jays tough. They won 2 of 3 in August 7th to 9th series. This series is tied at 1. Let's see what we are dealing with here for the Jays. Oh, sorry, that's first 5. Let's move to full game and see what we are dealing with, money lines and totals. We have the Jays opening up at -175 and now -210. Damn, that's a big move. 35-cent move there. This total opened up at 10.5. It's now at 10. Take it away, Babano. Jays, Red Sox.
So I did 2 plays here. I did the run line on the Jays -1.5, -115. Or sorry, -120 on that run line. And I'm on the full game over 10. And I did it this 2 ways. If Boston's winning this game, and I don't think they are, obviously, but if they are, I think it's got to fly over the total. If somehow they get to Ryu, which is possible, because as you mentioned, even though this is a bad year for the Red Sox so far, they can hit lefties, and they've hit lefties quite well. And the Blue Jays bullpen is in a state of flux because they've already pulled so many of their relievers out of the bullpen into opener roles and starting roles because Trent Thornton's on the injured list right now for the Blue Jays. And there's another pitcher as well that was just added to the injured list for the Jays as well, Shoemaker. Both of them on the IL for the Blue Jays. So now that bullpen's in a state of flux. If Boston's winning this game, it's going to be this wild slugfest. But I'm also on Toronto run line because I think there's a potential that even though Boston's hit lefties well, Ryu could shut them down. Ryu has been just phenomenal the last 4 starts. Remember, everybody was just worried and concerned. What's wrong with Ryu? After his first couple starts there in late July when the season began, well, he's given up, 3 runs in his last 4 starts combined in the last 4 outings. I mean, he's been absolutely phenomenal. So the way I see it is I don't think I'm going to lose both of these bets because I really think the Jays are going to tee off on Mazza in this bandbox ballpark here in Salem Field. It doesn't take much for the ball to get out of the yard. If you've been watching these games in Buffalo on television, this is a small little rinky-dink park. It doesn't take much to get a home run out in this ballpark. There were a bunch of them. The Blue Jays have hit extremely well in the home games in Buffalo so far. Mazza, there's nothing here that indicates to me he's major league worthy. The Red Sox bullpen is one of the worst in baseball. The Red Sox pen almost has a team bullpen ERA of 6, 5.93. I mean, just a brutal bullpen the Red Sox have. So I think I can cash both. I could see this being kind of like last night. It was a 9-1 win for the Jays. I could see 10-2. I could see 11-4, something like that. I think the Jays just go off here in this game offensively. I'm going to lay the 1.5 with them, and I'm also going to go full game over 10, minus 115.
Yeah, I completely understand laying the run line here. I completely get it. A minus 120. I think I might just jump on that as well. Connor Max says Jays here run line. Mazza is garbage. Yeah, 29-year-old making his MLB debut. Not easy. Let's see what the Jays are first 5 on the minus a half. God, I just sitting here with these big favorites makes me nervous. Okay, we don't have the first 5 up here for the Jays for some reason. Let me see if I can refresh this. All right, so I will wait. Oh no, that's winning margin. Sorry, let me see if we don't have the alternative 5-inning lines yet. But that makes sense. It just makes sense, man. 5 commas 1.5. Okay. Let's keep rolling right now. Moving on to Phillies Nationals. Spencer Howard. He's a tricky guy to figure out. He's one of the big prospects for the Phillies, and he's yet to go more than 4 2/3 in any of his 3 starts. And that's going up against a Nats team that's lost 3 straight and really, really needs a win. Howard's gone 11 2/3, 6.17 ERA, 2.06 WHIP. Both teams underachieving this year. 12-14 Phillies, 11-17 Nats. I have both teams season win total under, so I'm pleased. Phillies versus righties. Phillies offense is strong. It's their pitching that's terrible. 268, 782 OPS. Nationals versus righties, 245, 717 OPS. Phillies bullpen just trash. 7.52 ERA, 1.93 WHIP. But Brandon Workman, 2 hits and got the save last night in a 3-2 win. And going up against Scherzer, who's not being great this year. And last outing, 7 hits, 4 runs, 4 2/3 against the Marlins. I've stayed away from taking the overs when he's pitched just because of a vividness bias. The over in this is 9. Scherzer opening up at minus 185. He's now minus 175. Take it away, Babano. Phillies, Nats.
Yeah, I haven't bet it yet. I do have a lean to the over in this start. I mean, 2 straight overs for Scherzer, and he's not looked great, in these last 2 outings that he's taken them out. Far from Scherzer-like. And I said coming into the season that watch him sort of not be great this year, because we saw signs of this in the second half last year and in the playoffs. He was giving up way more home runs, and that was definitely an alarming sign from Scherzer down the stretch of last season. And you look at him so far this year, 4 home runs in his last 2 starts, and for the season, he's given up 5 home runs. So, he had a little stretch there. We went without giving up a home run, but the home runs have been an issue again the last couple starts, giving up 4 in his last 2 outings. So that's a concern. And the Phillies do have some pop with Rhys Hoskins and Bryce Harper, who's actually starting to hit the ball out of the yard. So there's definitely some concerns here for Scherzer. Spencer Howard, you're right, prospect. I think he's Joe Girardi, the manager, saying he's just struggling to find the strike zone consistently. Walks have been an issue. He's getting behind in counts. You can't afford to have that happen. Maybe a young guy that's overthinking it, trying to do a little bit too much, trying to be a little bit too fine out there. That's sometimes what a young pitcher like him can get into. The good news is he was a lot better in his last start. He struggled in his first 2 outings against the Braves and the Mets. The last time against a really good Jays lineup, remember, the Jays offense is in good form right now. Only gave up a run, 3.2 innings. Obviously, the pitch count has gotten up. He hasn't pitched deep into these games, which is a concern because you got the Phillies pen. But that's exactly why I was leaning full game over, Jimmy, because if you're betting the full game over, you'll want to see more of that Philadelphia Phillies bullpen. One of the worst in baseball for sure. And Washington's not got a lockdown pen either. I still might bet it, but for sure, if I'm looking at anything, I'm not going to get involved in the side. But total-wise, definitely have some interest looking over the total.
I'm going to go ahead and bet the over with perfect weather conditions for it. The wind 12 miles per hour out to straightaway center. It's humid. It's just a perfect first pitch is at 87 Fahrenheit, but it feels like 97. This is feels like a spot here to take advantage of the over. And I wonder if even one of the things that happens when these young kids get to go up against a legend like Scherzer is they do step up. But I'm very comfortable here. Big Creeker, what up?
This is one of those starts, Jimmy, or games that when you handicap it, you're not even really handicapping the starters. Even Scherzer at times, he hasn't exactly eaten up innings at times this year, and certainly Spencer Howard. He hasn't gone beyond 3-4 innings in most of his starts. It's not so much about you believe the starting pitching is going to lead to runs. Bullpens are going to lead to runs. You're going to think about this. You're going to see the Phillies bullpen potentially, if Spencer Howard's previous starts are any indication, you're going to see that bullpen out there, that lousy, pathetic, can barely get an out bullpen, for 5 innings in this game, potentially 4 or 5 innings. That's going to give you plenty of opportunities to cash this over. So you got to look at it that way. Bullpens has to be a part of your handicapping in MLB now more than ever.
Yeah, I like it. Detroit, what's saying super hot here in Detroit as well. Muggy. Black Rogue says Philly's a big dog. I think this is a good spot for an over. D Summers, no, we don't have the taint in right now. We have not seen Matt Randall in the chat. I'm going to take the over 9. I think that's a nice look, especially after the low-scoring game. Yes, not that has anything to do with it. But low-scoring game yesterday. Perfect weather conditions for an over. Okay, let's move on to Orioles. Rays means Yarbrough. Yarbrough does not look like the dynamic force he's been last year and in previous years. Rays bullpen, 3.75 ERA, 1.29 whip. They are the best bullpen in the league, but you can't be the best bullpen in the league when your rotation and pieces that you use are this beaten up. There's so they've lost 5 pitchers for the year already in McKay, Chirinos, Poche, Kittredge, and Beeks. And Kittredge and Beeks just got hurt, but they're big pieces to the bullpen. They've already lost Morton,
Charlie
Alvarado,
Morton,
Anderson, Drake, Chaz Rowe. So now their bullpen is somewhat vulnerable, but they're still a very good baseball team. And Yarbrough's not looked very good. And Orioles hit lefties hard, 274, 868 OPS. Means coming in is another question mark. 4 appearances this year, and he's not looked good. He's just not looked good. Last year against the Rays, 2-1, 3.68 ERA, 0.91 whip, but he's not the same guy. Shogun Soup looking at Bassett over 5.5 Ks. Very interesting look there. Mr. Go saying first 5 over 4.5. Baltimore, Tampa, both teams hitting well. Let's see what we're dealing with from a market perspective. Means and Yarbrough. Yarbrough opening up at minus 185, now minus 175. 10-cent move towards the Orioles. This total is at 8.5. What do you think, Babano?
Prince in the City in the chat saying, don't bet anything Philly. Well, I bet the Flyers yesterday. That worked out. So you can do it from time to time, buddy. Trust me. You can do that. I know he hates Philadelphia teams. I know that. I love you for it. But I understand where you're coming from. I mean, most of them have been just flaming garbage, for the last several years, other than the Eagles Super Bowl a couple of years ago. But I digress. Nevertheless, I've got this game circled as an over. In fact, I've got Tampa Bay circled as an over right now, game to game. It's not going to work out all the time. And obviously the last couple have gone under in this Orioles-Rays series. But I'm looking at it this way. This lineup doesn't get the respect it deserves. It's a better lineup than people think. I know it's not got the superstars on it, but you've got these professional hitters, Brandon Lau, Tsutsugo, the guy from Japan has come over and been big for them at the plate. I mean, they just got Ji-Man Choi. They got good professional hitters on this Rays team. They take good at bats. They work counts. They get on base. They put the ball in play. And they don't have those big name sluggers. But, boy, as a lineup, 1 through 9, that's a solid lineup. And I think they deserve a little bit more respect than they get. But you mentioned it, Jimmy. Their pitching's starting to fall apart. I think some of their starting pitching hasn't been as good. Ryan Yarbrough is one of those guys. He's had a disappointing start to the year considering the way he pitched last year. You look at his numbers, 5.27 ERA for Yarbrough, not very good at all. Gave up 4 runs, 6.1 innings his last start against Toronto. In fact, he's given up 4+ runs in 3 of his last 4 starts, so it's been a rough go for him. John Means has just had a really tough go as well for the Orioles, struggling to pitch deep into games. Look at the 3+ runs allowed in 4 of his last 5 starts. He's pitched 5, 2.1, 4.2, 0.2, 3 innings in those starts, so he's not pitching deep into games. I know the Baltimore bullpen's been better this year a little bit than it's been in the past, but it's still not a bullpen that can pick up the slack and pitch 6 strong innings in a game. You got to keep them to just a couple of innings. They're high leverage guys late in the game. Then they're effective. starting pitcher's only going to go 3-4 innings. They're not as effective. So I see this game being another one where I think we see runs. I think the two lineups match up well against the opposing starters. Baltimore, especially against lefties, 271 as a team, batting average 5.67 runs per game against lefties this year. So this could be trouble for Yarbrough. On the flip side, Means should be hit by this Rays team. And again, you mentioned it, the bullpen for Baltimore, if they have to pitch a lot of innings, not great. Tampa Bay's bullpen is just decimated with injuries. There's no way the Rays bullpen can be as good now as it was maybe early in the season or last year, with all the key arms out of that bullpen missing from that pen right now. So in this game, Baltimore and Tampa Bay, I like over 8.5, and it's not a big total. 8.5, I think we can get to 9+.
I do too. It's interesting that the market has moved. It was juiced previously to the over at 8.5. Now it's juiced to the under. There's Brian Watson in the house, and Spencer giving us the latest updates from the wide world of sports in Orlando. The over 8.5 makes sense to me. I agree. And I'm not going to take first 5 just because of the issues that the Rays bullpen is feeling, and the Rays just keep coming at you. So I'm going to stick with
I want the Tampa Bay bullpen, and to be honest, the Baltimore bullpen to be part of this handicap. So yes, I absolutely would go full game, not first 5 over.
Although I do like them both, but I'm not going to double up. Okay, let's keep rolling. Over 8.5 there. Move to Twins, Tigers, and Randy Dobnak continues to blow our minds. Pitching the contact, 16 K, 7 walks, and 30 in the third, with a 1.78 ERA, a 1.02 whip. So, 3 years removed from pitching for the Utica Unicorns of the United Shore Professional Baseball League? He's not allowed more than 2 runs in any of his starts. Hasn't given up an earned run. He didn't give up an earned run over 7 innings. Last 2 appearances against Detroit last season. This guy 3 years ago was watching games at Comerica Park, eating nachos, and now he's pitching in Comerica Park, going up against Boyd, who looked better in his last start. Gardenhire said it as well. Looked like the old Boyd. He has a little bit of confidence. He held Cleveland to 2 runs, 5 hits, struck out 6 and 5 in the third. Didn't allow a homer for just a second time in 6 starts. But that Cleveland team doesn't hit lefties, so we shouldn't get too carried away. This is the first time the Twins and Tigers have met each other. Twins bullpen, 3.67 ERA, 1.25 whip. Tigers bullpen being pretty good, 4.68 ERA, 1.19 whip. Twins don't hit lefties. Tigers don't hit righties. And let's see what we're dealing with here. Dobnak and the Twinkies opened up at minus 175, now minus 155. 20-cent move towards the Tigers. This total was juiced to the over 9.5. It's now juiced to the under 9.5. Take it away, Babano. Twinkies, Tigers.
Yeah, bingo. You hit the nail on the head. I'm not buying what Boyd was selling in that start. Sorry. Cleveland can't hit their way out of a wet paper bag against lefty pitching. We've seen this more than enough from the Indians to know that. I need to see Boyd do it here, against a Minnesota Twins lineup that is just, I'll put the Twins lineup against a lot of other teams in Major League Baseball. That's how good they've been. Let's see if Boyd gets through this start. I still have my doubts. You look at it, still Boyd been other than that one game last time out against Cleveland. He's still been awful on the season. How about Boyd's track record against the Twins? He only gave up 7 runs in 6 innings against them in August last year, 25th. And then the start just days later, 5 runs in 6 innings. He's been roughed up by the Twins. The Twins have seen him a lot being in the same division. I don't trust Matt Boyd flat out going into this game. I need to see him pitch well against someone other than a team that just cannot hit lefties whatsoever, period. That's as far as it goes with me, and the Twins should be able to do that. 248 average as a team against Southpaws, 5.09 runs per game against Southpaws. Look, I'm going to give Randy Dobnak credit. You're right. This is not supposed to be this way for this guy. Just coming out of nowhere, being a journeyman for years, and have a 1.78 ERA, shortchanging him. 1.78 ERA for Randy Dobnak on the season. But here he is. And look, the eye test tells you he's pitching well. He's finding ways to pitch well. He's getting people out. And you got to give him credit for that. Now, has he been a little fortunate at times? Has he had some base runners? And has he wiggled his way out of some jams during these starts? For sure. But the fact is, he's gotten out of those trouble spots, and he's pitched very well for the Minnesota Twins. So this is one of those games where I don't want to have to handicap and think about what Dobnak may or may not do against the Detroit Tigers lineup. A Tigers lineup that's actually been hitting lately. Look what they did last night against the Chicago Cubs. So again, the full game over is a lean, but I get the worry that Dobnak pitches well again, and I don't want to have to worry about that. I'd rather just focus and zone in on fading Boyd because I don't buy that one good start against Cleveland. So at plus 110, I'm looking Minnesota team total over 5.5.
Yeah, I don't think I can. I think I'm just going to stay off this game. This Twinkies lineup without Donaldson, Buxton, Garver, and now Max Kepler. X-rays were negative with the pitch off his foot, but now you have a Twinkies team that went from dominating all opposition, destroying lefties, to hitting 686 OPS. Just a 686 OPS versus lefties. This is going to be a stay-off game. I can understand why Jin Rummy took the Tigers at plus 148. They're now at plus 135. I'm going to stay off Twinkies, Tigers, and Boyd was supposed to be their ace. It wouldn't surprise. Regression back to the mean.
That's going to be the question. That's why this is a fascinating game to watch when it's all said and done. If Boyd's really good again today and he pitches deeper and he gives you that 6 innings and 1 run like he gave you the last time out against this lineup, albeit this lineup that's a little bit compromised right now, as you mentioned, with all those guys out. But still, if Boyd comes out and looks good today, then we have a stronger buy sign than I think what we've got as of right now after one good start against a team that flat out can't hit lefties.
Oh, and Jin Rummy's on the Tigers first half, not full game. First half only. Alrighty, I'm going to stay off. And then we have the final game on our card where we get to see Sixto Sanchez, and there's no line right now. We do not know who will be pitching for the Mets, although I don't know why they've been so slow to announce, because it's either Mats or Gisselman, but they haven't let us know. But we get to see Sixto Sanchez, top prospect for the Marlins. 98.5 was his average fastball in his first start. And he did hit triple digits, 5 different pitches. I took a look at him on Baseball Reference. High A Jupiter, Double A Jacksonville in 2019, 8-6, 2.76 ERA, 1.07 WHIP, 103 Ks in 114 innings, which is interesting. Just 21 walks. You'd think a flamethrower with that kind of velocity would have a higher strikeout ratio, but maybe they were just trying to get him to pitch to location and not walk a ton of batters. By the way, DJ Big Boss in the house. We love this guy so much. We miss him. Get back on the show, Boss. Is on. He's going to back Dobnak and the ex-unicorn. Marlins Mets. I guess there's not much to talk about here without a line. Do you believe in Sixto Sanchez?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm interested to see how he goes. They're certainly giving him, singing his praises, saying he's got incredible upside, maybe ace potential for the future of this Marlins franchise. And we know they need an infusion of pitching. Unfortunately, the passing of Jose Fernandez years ago really set this team behind. I mean, that guy was set to be their ace for a long, long time. We saw the talent he had, the ability he had. And then all of a sudden, he passes away, and it takes just a big piece, not only the human being, but the pitching abilities that he had away from your team. And you were trying to build a starting staff essentially around that guy. And so the Marlins are hoping maybe Sixto can be a big part of this new starting rotation moving forward. I'm definitely not going to be betting this game even when the line comes out. I like to see these first starts for these pitchers and just see what they're all about. I'll tell you what, the Mets to me have been another one of those teams. It's been disappointment from them, what we've seen so far this year. And the Marlins have been, a big time surprise. And all they do is keep finding ways to win games and surprise people. So the Marlins are one of those teams that I was betting against them early on and sort of paying the price for it. And I've been a little bit gun shy to bet against Miami for the last few weeks.
There we have it. That is the entire MLB card. Nice breakdown. We got Jenny Tools back in action. Peanut ready to work as well. And Connor Mack shouting out our guy DJ Big Boss. We need the big chinga play of the day. That's very, very hot here on the show. All right, let's review our man Babano's action in MLB and then move on to NHL. Babano, what are your looks on today's MLB card?
Yeah, I mean, the first game of Seattle-San Diego, we're looking Padres run line and Padres team total over in that one. Cincinnati, you know what? You're on Cincinnati. You like them enough to bet them. I'm going to take Sonny Gray and the Reds. Sonny, yesterday my life was filled with money. Hopefully that's the case here. Cincinnati minus 130 against Milwaukee. What else we got? We got Toronto run line minus 1.5, minus 120, and the full game over 10 with the Red Sox and Jays. I'm on Oakland run line minus 1.5, minus 125, and Oakland team total over 5.5. Plus 110. Philadelphia, Washington. I'm gonna get in on that over 9 minus 120. I am gonna take that. I'm gonna take Baltimore, Tampa Bay over 8.5 minus 105, and we're gonna go with Minnesota team total over 5.5 plus 100 and plus 110. There we go. So that's my MLB.
It's a good looking card. Good looking card. I can understand the Lamet spot, but I'm not. I'm gonna stay off that, even though Kikuchi looks so vulnerable. Oh, by the way, Miss J is seeing Gisselman as the starting pitcher for the Mets. I don't have a line yet, but want one. This is my card here, and I'm on a bad run. It's been 8 days of a bad run, so take it with a grain of.
That means the good run is about to begin. You got to look at it that way. If you cloud yourself in negativity, it'll cloud your judgment and decision.
No, I feel you, but another part of our show has always been, honesty and transparency, and we go over our numbers each time. Those of you who are joining the show late, I just want you to know that it's not been a good run. We got Big Ragu in the house, Doc rolling with us. So I'm on the Cardinals -1 game 1, and I'm on the Reds first 5 -0.5 game 1. That's a -105. Then that's my only action on the double dips. I'm going to stay off Rockies, D-backs, but I get it. I am going to double up on the A's against Lyles. And I know a whole bunch of us are on the A's, and that doesn't scare me that a whole bunch of us are on it. I'm going to attack the A's first 5 -0.5. And then when I bet it, I'm going to have to decide between the -1 or the -1.5. And I'll have to make a decision there. The -1's a -162. I'm also going to double up on the Blue Jays against Mazza. I think he's vulnerable. And then the over 9, so first 5 full game. And then over 9 in Phillies Nationals, over 8.5 in Baltimore Tampa. And that is my card. And when I make the bets, I will put out on Twitter what I got, what lines, and that's what we'll go by for record-keeping purposes. All right, let's move on to NHL. We've been very strong ever since we took the Canucks on Tuesday night at +185. C-Mac got him at +190. Shout out to our Connor Mack in the house. We started rolling again, and we were on a tailspin in NHL, so we're getting it back. Yesterday, very easy taking Tampa Bay, knowing that the Boston goaltending was in shambles and tired. And I also thought we'd get a few goals from the perfection line. We ended up getting 1, but I thought we'd get more than that to help us with the over. So we hit with the Lightning, we hit with the over, we hit with the Avalanche -1, but I was on the under, and I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to stop doing that in that series. But Bano, I called the
Dallas is on fire. You took the under.
I called the final score. I called the final score 4-1 Colorado, and when it was 3-1 going into the third, I was like, "Watch this, watch this." All right.
When there's a total in hockey that's 5.5, and you see that 3-2 goal get scored early in the, it's done. At that point, it's going to go over the total, and that's pretty much what happened. Then the floodgates opened after Dallas made it 3-2. That third period was just batshit crazy. It was insane how that period.
Nuts, absolutely nuts. I couldn't sleep for a second after. I'm just thinking, just staring up and thankful. Mark Rosado said, Jimmy, people are finally catching on to NHL being easy. Well, I've had a tough year, and you guys saw me the last 2 years. So the first year I capped in front of you, I got up to 43 units. That was my high watermark, plus 43 units. Last year, at the last day of the season, I was plus 30 units. This year, not as much. 125 wins, 147 losses, down 3.57 units. Hitting at 46%. My ROI minus 1.31%. My average line plus 120. And Ian, I know you've had a very, very strong playoffs, and we have a lot of cappers in the chat backing these New York Islanders today. Let's see what we are looking at from a market perspective and see what moves we should make. The Islanders Flyers opened up as a pick'em, still a pick'em. God, this is fun. This total at 5. 5 cents juiced to the over. Slightly juiced to the over. The Flyers power play started the series at 4% overall in the restart. They've scored a couple power play goals. They're now at 9.5%, 80.5% penalty killing. Islanders 16.7% power play, 77.1% penalty killing. And I underestimated this spectacular Islanders team. I was not fully aware of what kind of a player Beauvillier is. 7 goals in the postseason. That ties a single playoff year by an Islander since Ray Ferraro with 13 in 93 and Steve Thomas with 9 in 93. Anders Lee's been awesome. And then we dealt with this long shutout streak for Varlamov and the Flyers 10-0 after a loss in their last 10, coming back and winning. And then Varlamov getting touched early, Greiss coming in looking great. All said and done, this is a great series and a very, very interesting game 3. Take it away, Babano, Flyers Islanders.
Well, first of all, in terms of these high-scoring games yesterday, all 3 games went over the total. People were bitching and complaining in the round robin and in the play-in qualifying round, and even at parts of the first round. Where are the goals? Where's the scoring? How are all these games going under. Well, the worm is starting to turn. The overs are 7-3 so far here in the second round of the playoffs. So we're starting. And you know what it is? People are knocking the rust off. The game, and then we're starting to get more offensive flow and rhythm with many of these teams, and the goal scoring has gone up here in the second round. So 7-3 to the over with second round games so far in this round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. As far as Flyers and Islanders was concerned, I was on the Flyers yesterday. I didn't feel good about it, but I said, you know what? I've been on Philadelphia every time after a loss, 10-0 going into yesterday, off a loss since January. I'm like, I got to bet that. Because I do know one thing about the Flyers. Whatever their best punch is after a 4-0 loss in game 1 to the Islanders, you're going to see it in this game. And sure enough, they had the great start in the first period. 3 goals. They chased Semyon Varlamov, and they came out firing. But the Islanders pushed back, and I was impressed with the resolve of the Islanders. Barry Trotz yanked Semyon Varlamov early, and it was the right move. 2 of those goals probably could and maybe should have been stopped. One was on the short side of Varlamov. Even the Couturier goal, great deep move, great power move to the net, but still he got put out of position so easily, Varlamov, there, that I thought he could have played that better. It was not his A game, bottom line. So it was the right move for Barry Trotz also to try to change momentum. It sure did, because I thought the Islanders were better for most of the last 2 periods. They ended up tying it. Of course, Philip Myers' point shot deflects in to win the game in overtime, and really an escape for the Flyers, because if they lose that game, it could be a short series just like that. I mean, to lose that game, if they had lost, it would have been disastrous for the Flyers. There is good news. Couturier got his first goal of the playoffs. Now we're waiting on Giroux. So there is some good things for the Flyers, and I respect they got the win, and now they're 11-0 off a loss. You got to remember that moving forward if we see it again, because it's just been money, that angle for the Flyers. But if you've been watching this series start to finish like I have, I would say that, and there's been 6+ periods of hockey, I would say the New York Islanders have won 4, maybe even 5 of the 6 periods so far. They've looked like the better team. They've carried the play. They've had the puck more. They've been in the offensive zone more. They haven't been hemmed in like the Flyers have. I would say 4, or even you could even stretch it to 5 of the 6 periods so far in this series. I believe the New York Islanders have been the better team. I'm going to be on the Islanders today. Simple as that. I think they look a little bit more sturdy than the Flyers right now. I trust them in a bounce-back game. The Islanders are another team that hasn't lost 2 in a row since the restart began. They lost a game in the Florida series, bounced back strong, and won the next game 5-1 after they lost that game. They lost the game 4 that they had a chance to sweep the Capitals, and they came right back and just put a mud hole stomping in the Capitals in game 5 to close out that series. They're a team that's also been able to respond to a bad game and a loss and respond and play a lot better the next time out. And to me, like I said, I think for 4 or 5 of the 6 periods, they've been better than Philadelphia. And I don't want to hear nonsense that the Islanders are not an offensive team. All right, that's garbage now. Beauvillier, Lee, Barzal, Anders Lee, go on down the list here. Brock Nelson, Josh Bailey, John Gabriel Pajot, which was a huge, great acquisition at the trade deadline from Ottawa to give them even more depth. They can score goals. I don't want to hear this nonsense that this is the same old Islanders. They struggle to find the back of the net. They're scoring right now. I like them in a bounce back here. They've been the better team for extended stretches of this series through 2 games, even though it's a 1-1 series. I think they win game 3 today. They've also got the better numbers on a back-to-back than the Flyers. They've got a winning record on a back-to-back. Flyers have a losing one. Give me the Islanders today.
They're a deeper squad than the Flyers, and that will help in a back-to-back. I completely understand backing the Islanders. Coactus says better coach. Is there a better coach in the NHL? I mean, I think Vigneault's a great coach too. So, I mean, but look at the depth of the Flyers has surprised me. You know, they have Robert Hagg is their 7th defenseman. He was plus 14 during the year. Got JVR coming in or Loughton coming out. They're deeper than I expected them to be. Both these teams they're just so much better than I thought they were at the 40-game mark of the regular season. And the Islanders are so much better than I thought they were even coming into the playoffs. And I think here, the second half of a back-to-back, you're going to have a rested Varlamov who came back to earth. I agree. I'm not so bullish on the over. A lot of cappers in the chat are bullish on this over. What do you think of this total at 5?
I came into this series thinking it would be low scoring, and I know we had the over yesterday. But again, the Islanders had to completely open up after falling down 3-0. When the Islanders, if they get a lead like they did in Game 1, they don't mind just being patient, wait on some mistakes from the opponent, and use that to fuel their offense. They're just going to make sure the first priority is protect the net, protect the house when they get the lead. So it really is one of those games where, from a totals perspective, I don't really love anything pregame. It's damn difficult for me. As much as I think this is going to be a lower scoring series and this game could revert to an under, I don't bet unders at 5 anymore in the NHL. I just don't. You can almost get over a 5 by accident. It's very tricky. It's very hard. And you saw it yesterday. You even saw it in Game 1. That game had no business even coming close to going over the total. And yet it got to 4. You see an Alain Vigneault down 3-0 with 7 minutes to go, pulling the goalie. And all of a sudden, if you got the under in that game, you're a little worried. You're sweating a little bit. Yeah, that's what you get when you bet an under of 5. I'm sorry. It's a low number. It can almost sometimes get over a number like that by accident, especially if there's a lot of penalties called in a game. And you never know when it comes to a number of penalties from a game-to-game basis. So that's why it's tricky. I do think I would think this game has a chance to tighten up a little bit more and be a little bit more lower scoring, but I'm just not going to go under a total of 5. It's just not enough wiggle room. I mean, you could almost, it's just, there's not enough breathing space, in my opinion, to feel comfortable betting unders of 5 in the NHL these days.
Yeah, I like it. I agree. And I think you nailed it, Babano. If you're going to be on the over, you better hope the Flyers score a goal or two and not the other way around.
Good live betting game. Good live betting game. If the Islanders get the lead, bet a live under. Because they're not going to mind sitting on the lead and protecting it and thinking defense first. The Flyers get the first goal, you actually might want to look live over, because the end of the Islanders got to open up. And we saw it yesterday. We saw it all playoffs long. The Islanders have some scoring now. We got to stop talking like they don't, so they can come back in games. They did yesterday. So I think it's one of those games. Philly gets the lead, play the over. Islanders get the lead, maybe you look live under.
Yeah. I like it. I am going to make a move on the Islanders here, second half of a back-to-back. I just think the way they roll 4 lines is going to help them here. I think Varlamov getting the rest. This might be a spot where we take the Islanders to win Game 3 and go right back to the Flyers in Game 4.
Yep, because then the 11-0 off a loss since January comes back into play if the Flyers lose tonight for Game 4.
All right, I'm being talked into it. Islanders at -110. Now let's move on to the Knights and the Knuckleheads. Game 2 just felt very, very good. The ridiculous odds in this series. So look, I know Vancouver's struggled mightily against Vegas since they came into the league, and that was our first regulation win over Vegas. But we're playing in a neutral site. And the fact that Vegas, they open up, they're -200 right now, is ludicrous. At -230, it was so ludicrous that I had to bet on the Canucks. You just had to. There was just too much value on the Canucks side of things. We're dominating the faceoff circle. Horvat goes 21-5 in game 2, and the Knights know it now. They know that they're losing the faceoff battle. They're uncomfortable about losing the faceoff battle. We've already had issues with Fleury and Leonard. I know that Fleury's a great guy and a leader, and he's not going to necessarily bring it to the ice, but it's existing. It's happening. And now Leonard, got touched up in the last game, so there's a legitimate goaltending controversy. The Canucks probably have the best power play in the league, hitting at 25% right now. But with Hughes back there, it just keeps getting stronger. Now they have Toffoli back. You got Markstrom with confidence. You got Pettersson with confidence. Everything changed when we could split up Besser and Pettersson, when we could use Toffoli on that line. JT Miller's an absolute gamer. And at this point, I got my $370 off of the Canucks in game 2. And I'm hesitant to go right back to the well. But betting the Knights at this price is lunacy. And this total at 6. Betting a minus 200 team that, what did they won 22 of 65 faceoffs in game 2? So you have a minus 200 team that's never going to start with the puck is absolute lunacy. And the more I talk about this ridiculous, the odds that are so ridiculous, the more I talk myself into betting the Canucks. And I haven't done that yet because I'm up 370 on the series. I didn't bet game 1. I wanted to watch it. But Bono, Knights, Nucks, what are you thinking here?
The game 2 was the spot to bet Vancouver because I did as well. And I took the over in that game. So it was a 2-0 sweep for me in game 2. That was the spot. Because if you believe for a second Vancouver was better than they showed in game 1 and you thought that they could match up much better and play much better in game 2, you had to take them at that price. You had to. And that's exactly, obviously you did, Jimmy. And I know you like the Canucks and you want to see them do well, obviously, but you're always looking at these games with an unbiased heart and an unbiased mind. You said, they can match up. We've seen evidence of Travis Green getting his team back on the rails again after a bad game. It happened against St. Louis. How much more evidence do you want of the Canucks being able to respond to adversity? This young team could have folded after 2-2 against St. Louis because they got out to the 2-0 series lead. St. Louis ties the series, and then you think they're on the ropes and all the momentum is with St. Louis. No. All Vancouver does is win the next 2 games and close out the defending Stanley Cup champions, bounce back and find form. This is a tough, resilient, mentally type of team, the Canucks, for a young group with Horvat and Pettersson and Besser. It's not just, and what's great for Vancouver is they've got these young building blocks up front of the future. Quinn Hughes, obviously, on the blue line, but they've insulated these guys with JT Miller, and now Tyler Toffoli's back, and you've got these veterans that play great, that play hard, that know how to win in the postseason, and it's really made a big difference here for Vancouver. I am not laying minus 200 with Vegas. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. I'm totally off this game from a side perspective because I'd rather be betting Vancouver off the get kicked down in the knees off a loss in this series rather than off the satisfying win. And with Vegas now a little bit angry after the way they played the other night, I could see Vegas winning this game tonight and going up 2-1, but the price is not at all something I'm comfortable with on the Golden Knights. I think Vancouver is a little bit better in this series of an opponent for Vegas than this price indicates. I'm just going to flat out say it, and I think Vegas will play a hell of a lot better tonight. I don't know if Vancouver's got it in them to win 2 in a row. I'm actually going to hope Vegas wins tonight, go up 2-1, maybe come back with Vancouver in game 4. Same thought process as I had in after game 1, because I was in the camp where, okay, that was ugly. Okay, that was domination. Okay, in game 1, it did look like men versus boys out there. But I said Vancouver's better than that. They've shown it many times. They've got the speed element on their team to deal with Vegas' speed better than they showed in game 1, and they did in game 2. And Jacob Markstrom was a lot better as well. So I'm passing on the side because I do think it's a Vegas spot. You'll get them playing a lot better. And by the way, the numbers for Vegas off a game where they get held to 2 goals or less, I think they're 11-1, Jimmy, in their last 12 games when they've been held to 2 goals or less in their that's a track record I just don't want to go against. But I don't want to lay minus 200. I just think that's a little bit of an inflated price here. And I think this series is closer than that, in my opinion. I am going to go on the over, though, at 6. I did say this would be a high-scoring series throughout. I still believe that. Vegas has also been heavily trending over after one of those games where they get held to 2 goals or less. And really, that was only the 3rd time since the restart that the Golden Knights have been held below 4 goals. They've scored 4 goals or more in all but 3 games so far. So I think their offense comes back, but I don't think Vancouver's going to get shut out again either like they were in Game 1. There's just too many options now for them offensively, especially with Tyler Toffoli back, and what an impact he made. I mean, he's barely back, and he scores the first goal of the game the other night for the Canucks. So I'm just on the over 6 here, minus 110, and pass on the side. I think that's the conflict, Jimmy. I think Vegas wins this game. I think they play a lot better. I'm not going against them in this spot, but the price to me is not one I'm comfortable with back in the Golden Knights, because I think overall this series is a little bit closer than that.
Yeah. Situationally, the Vegas is woken up. This isn't like when the Blackhawks stole the game. The Canucks won the game. They beat them.
In the game.
Soundly.
Was Corey Crawford standing on his head or Jacob Markstrom standing on his head? Vancouver went out there with a better hockey team. They won more races. They drew more penalties. They were in the offensive zone more than they were in Game 1. They beat Vegas. I don't want to hear anything other than that. They earned the win, the Canucks. They were the better team the other night.
Andrew G, well put. So I'm worried for the Young Nucks here, Jim. Breaking into a house with the lights on this time. It's really well put, Andrew.
Yep. That's a great line. Wow.
Yeah, that's a great line. I'm not going to bet the Canucks here. I'm going to cheer for them. But the Knights now know that they better play their best hockey if they want to get past the Canucks. If you're going to bet the Knights, you can take them in regulation. But the odds are absurd. This should be...
If you want to take a strict value shot on Vancouver, I'm not going to tell you no, don't do it. Even though I think Vegas probably wins this game, because I think this series is closer than Vegas being minus 200 in any game and Vancouver being plus 170, plus 180 in any game.
And what if in an hour or two we hear that Fleury is getting the start? Mr. Gogan said team total over 2.5, Jim. I'm not going to do that either, although at minus 110, I can understand it. I'm not going to make that bet either. I think if the Canucks score 3 goals, the Knights are unlikely to win in regulation. Unlikely. I'm not saying that they won't, but this just feels like the Knights now know what they're up against. Let's ask this question before we put a bow on this show, Babano, and thank you so much for joining us. Great Babano rolling with us today. Babano, what is it if you hear Fleury gets a start, or if you hear Leonard gets a start, what is the difference for you? Is there one?
I think if Fleury gets the start, it's really going to make the case for Vegas stronger, not weaker. Fleury was great in the one start he got against Chicago. It was the back-to-back, and they decided we'll give Leonard a rest and we'll put Fleury in there, and he was great. No question about that. So I have no problem with Fleury. In fact, I might get scared of my over a little bit, because I could see them digging in and playing really solid defensively, because they're happy to see the Flower back in between the pipes. I'll be honest here with from a Vegas perspective. Leonard, he got the shutout in Game 1, but I didn't think Vancouver tested him a whole lot. I mean, Vegas had the puck all night. You know, it's not like Vancouver was peppering him with shots, peppering him with quality chances in that game. So he got the shutout, but it was a quiet shutout for Robin Leonard. I honestly think the games prior to that shutout win against Vancouver, Leonard was okay. He wasn't great. You know, I honestly believe that he could play better. And yet Peter DeBoer is stuck with him. And I think even after the Game 2 loss, he's going to stick with Leonard one more time. I actually do think we're going to see Leonard again tonight. Not saying we won't see Fleury, but in my opinion, Peter DeBoer has been so loyal and so giving so many chances to Leonard that he's going to give Leonard this chance for a bounce back start tonight in Game 3. If he struggles again tonight, you know, and he might get pulled during the game, or if they lose the game and it's close and he's not terrible but he's not great, then I could see Fleury stepping in Game 4 of this series. But I honestly think he's going to go back to Leonard at least one more time tonight. Not saying we won't see Fleury, but in terms of DeBoer and the way he's thinking, I think you're going to see Leonard in net. As far as if we see Fleury tonight, what it would do for me, it would get me a little bit more hesitant on the over, personally. Don't know if I'd get off it, but Fleury was really good. And, the teammates on the Golden Knights love the guy. He's just that kind of person, and they're going to be so excited if they get him back in the net. Not that it's anything against Leonard. Not that they have anything against Leonard. I'm sure they don't, but Fleury is just one of those people. He's infectious. Teammates love the guy. So if he's in net tonight, may make me want to may make me worried of Vancouver just a little bit more, as well as the over. May be worried a little bit more about that as well.
As well put. I agree with both angles. If because they sort of got an ace in their sleeve here with Fleury and knowing how the team's going to play for them, and it's not panic time yet. And I think if DeBoer put in Fleury, it would be a sign, oh, we're scared or nervous or something like that. So I could see them going with Leonard, but it might be time to bring in. I know, you know what? I think it would be a sign of weakness if they bring in Fleury. I now, the more we talk about it, I don't expect Fleury to be between the pipes tonight.
If I'm putting on my Peter DeBoer coaching cap, and this is not a blanket statement of how I'd be thinking of coaches in this situation. This is Peter DeBoer, and just knowing his tendencies and knowing how he's handled his goaltending since he's arrived in Vegas, I think he gives Robin Leonard at least one more start tonight, and I think you're going to see him.
I agree. Great breakdown. Babano, those are the two NHL games. I'm staying off the Knuckleheads game. We'll be watching very intently. I am on the Islanders minus 110. Babano, can you review your NHL action?
Yeah, just the two plays, one side, one total, and hopefully a 2-0 sweep. New York Islanders minus 110 and Vegas Vancouver over 6 minus 110.
And I completely agree with Richie Rich on the Vegas D. And I've been saying it all season long. And that's what happens when you pay ludicrous amounts of money for your top two lines. And when they made the Stanley Cup final, those were all discounted players. And now they're getting paid way, way too much. All right. In a final review, Babano, could you go over your MLB action one last time and roll it right into your NHL action?
Yes. Let me just. I've got to bring up the MLB rotation, because as soon as I see it, I know exactly what I'm on. The Padres Mariners has taken off the board. Both of those games have been taken off the board.
I bet you the Mariners aren't playing because 10 black players on their roster.
Yep.
They lead the league in that, and they should lead by example and follow suit. So that is my guess here.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's happened. Same with Dodgers Giants. Looks like that's been taken down. And remember, they got postponed as well last night. Dodgers and Giants, so they may not be happening. So I'll admit the games that are on the board. I'm going to mention what I'm on there. Cincinnati minus 130, Colorado, Arizona first 5 under 4 minus 115. Toronto run line, Blue Jays minus 1.5 minus 120 and over 10 minus 115. Oakland run line minus 1.5 minus 120 and Oakland team total over 5.5 minus 120. Philly Washington over 9 minus 120. Baltimore, Tampa Bay over 8.5 minus 105. Minnesota Twins team total over 5.5. And as I mentioned on the ice, New York Islanders minus 110. Vancouver, Vegas over 6 minus 110.
Absolutely great stuff, Babano. I am on the Cardinals game 1 and minus 1 minus 120. Then I'm on the Reds first 5 minus 0.5 with Sonny Gray in game 1 of that doubleheader. Just trying to stay away from that Brewers bullpen that's now rested. That's if this Brewer squad plays today. Then I move over to the A's and Jays double ups. First 5 minus 0.5, full game minus 1. And they're juiced. And I'm nervous talking about it. Then I have 2 overs after great breakdowns from Babano and loving the weather for the overs as well. Phillies Nats over 9. And the weather doesn't help me in Tampa. Over 8.5. Baltimore against Tampa over 8.5. And that's my card. And then I'm on the Islanders too at minus 110. And, I'm late to the party with the Islanders, but I'm running hot now in NHL. The last 48 hours running hot, but I'll take it. What a treat it is to roll with you guys and to have the great Babano here capping. Babano, before we say thanks to all these great cappers, and the taint play today is in for Matt Randall. That's the game 1 of the Cards game under 6.5. And I like that look. Quite a bit. Cool. Hyun Kim. I like that look quite a bit. Cool coming off shutting down the Brewers, who don't hit righties hard. 7-inning game, under 6.5. That might be a late addition. The taint play of the day, late addition. Let's just see if it's juiced here quickly before we put a bow on this. Game lines. Wow, it's actually juiced to the over. Minus 105 to the under 6.5. I guess I don't trust the Pirates bullpen enough. They can let that get away from me. But I completely understand the bet. Babano, any last words for these great cappers in the chat?
Well, last words is thanks to everybody for watching every day and joining us every day. We're growing something really nice here with Odds HQ and the YouTube channel and odds.com. It's a thrill for me to be part of the team because really it is a team. You know, we're all pulling the rope in the same direction. We're all doing our own great work. We all have our own various specialties from a sports betting standpoint, be able to all come together, share knowledge, share thoughts, share opinions, get along. It's a wonderful thing. That's what I want in this world. I don't want this stuff that just nauseates me watching it on television day in and day out. I want people with camaraderie. I want people that respect one another. I want people that like each other and have common beliefs and can actually have a disagreement without hating the other person. Can we have a disagreement without hating the other person once in a while? Please, come on. We are human beings. Time to start acting like it. Time to start treating each other like it. Great stuff, Jimmy. Dennis Garcia, by the way, just shifting to sports for a sec, says Seattle and Toronto in baseball made a trade, and Taijuan Walker's been traded to the Blue Jays. I have not seen that. I have not heard that. But Dennis Garcia, I have no reason to believe he's making it up or has heard something false. So it sounds like there's been a trade here with Mariners and Blue Jays.
Oh,
Taijuan
wow.
Walker to the Blue Jays, yeah.
Ooh, that's exciting. Oh, that's exciting. Ooh, that's exciting. I'm looking. Oh, wow.
There's potential there. There's upside with Walker. He just hasn't fully figured it out and put it all together yet. So we'll see if maybe a change of scenery does that. It's not the first time that maybe just getting out of town and a new surroundings helps a pitcher with some talent.
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. And very beautifully put, Babano. Just perfectly put. I'm going to pop a couple articles in the chat. This is Connor Max, our man, C-Max, first article on odds.com for the BMW Championship. If you guys could support a fellow low bagger and then another fellow low bagger, our Dennis Garcia. If you're looking for a little horse action today, we got Saratoga and Woodbine on the card from our Dennis Garcia. I'm going to pop that in the chat as well right there. Check out Dennis's action. More gambling, golf, horses. Hammer that right now. And all these great cappers in the chat. We focus on the positivity here, working together, defeating the juice together, capping sports together. It's real nice. And we can't do it without these guys here in the chat. Babano, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, Teddy said it when he was on this show with you before. Like, it put him in a better mood. It made him feel better, and he was happy. He enjoyed it. That's how I feel, too. I feel like I kind of felt down in the dumps this morning, everything that's going on in the last 24 hours. I'm feeling good now. I'm feeling positive. You cheer me up, Jimmy. The people in the chat make me feel good. It's everybody. You know, we're all just at one team. We're all trying to keep a positive frame of mind, and we're all working together as a unit, you know, to cash some tickets. And it's a wonderful thing. We are family. You're right, Matt Randall. That's exactly what we are here.
I love you guys. Shout out to all you guys in the chat. Robert Allen, Mr. Wisdom, Matt Randall, Elliot V, Shogun, Soup, North Ender, Connor Mack, Mr. Gokster, Mark Unker, Buzznuts, 721. Buzznuts here every day supporting us. Love that guy so much. Elliot V, Robert Allen, one for the money. No team is safe. Spenny Penny Bombs, Dennis Garcia, and Tiago Ruiz, Swervin, Brandon Lugo, James Woodruff, Jared Schrader, Canascat, all you guys, and our guest. And BC, our man BC, Top Set, Juan Juarez, and our esteemed guest, Babano. You were spectacular today. Let's have ourselves a day. And every Thursday, we get the glory of watching Babano leche us out of here. Babano, can you do the honors?
Jimmy and everyone in the chat, let's have a positive Thursday. Let's feel good, and let's cash some tickets on this Thursday. And leche and loose bookmakers.